In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to color these eyes. Now that the ink has dried, I can now start erasing and doing the touch-ups on this eye. So. I could probably use a bigger eraser, however, normally when I am drawing eyes, I always use a smaller eraser so I don't erase parts of the face or the hair. So using an eraser about this size when you're drawing eyes, it's much easier and you don't really have to worry about it as much. So you can see where it's supposed to be black, it looks really gross. That's just because probably didn't let it dry enough, but that's okay. That's what touch-ups are for, they just fix all that. Also doesn't, when you're drawing smaller eyes, which you probably are going to be drawing smaller eyes on your characters. These are like huge. You're not going to see as much gross stuff on there. So when you're drawing, the bigger the eyes you're drawing, the more work that it takes, really. But they also do look really pretty because you can do more with shading, which is something fun about eyes. I also always use like 3 up to like 5 colors on eyes, just because I feel like they have to be really bright and they have to stand out. So you can see the different colors better the bigger you draw your eyes. So I've just finished touch-ups on this. The next step is to color this thing, and at the very end I'm probably going to be going over just the top part of the eye with a little bit of black Copic, which is 100, just to make it look a little bit darker and cleaner. Now that the ink has dried on this eye, I can start erasing. And it's very important to get all of the pencil marks. You want to make sure that the pencil doesn't show up, like it doesn't smudge all over the place, just because you want your eyes to be really bright. Like if you're choosing a bright color, you want it to stay bright, and you know, having pencil marks going in there is going to make it look dirtier, and it's just not going to be as pretty. So this one did a little bit better than the other eye. Just going to do some of the touch-ups. I got some of the fine liner in the eye, but I'm not going to worry much about that because it's going to be colored in there with the darkest color. So just make sure you're careful so you don't do something like that. Generally I put like really dark colors around here, so that's not going to be seen. So I'm not worrying too much about it. Also, if you do make a mistake in the eye, you can always conveniently put the shine right there. Since I use a white gel pen, if I just go over that spot, you're not going to see it at all. So it's one way to fix up your mistakes. So I've just finished doing the touch-ups and the fine lining on this eye, so I can start on coloring. Okay, so I'm now going to start coloring this eye, and I'm going to be coloring it in a more natural color, so a grayish blue. I just kind of tested the markers on the side of the paper, or if you're doing a full drawing, I would suggest doing it on another piece of paper, so then you don't see it. I'm using Copic sketch markers, which you can find on my online store, shop.PaigeeDraw.com. I'm going to be starting the base with B52, which is it's a pretty bright color. not too bright though. Sorry, I meant to do my base as BG72, but that's not really a problem. I'll just start blending it in right now. And it's nice and dark grayish. There's a lot of ink on the page, so I think what I'm going to use right now is I'm going to use my Zero Colorless blender. It picks up some of the color so it gets lighter, however it also, I find it kind of takes some of the marker off of the page. Like, so if there's any ink that is just like soaked on there, you can just take it off. I have to use it a lot when I'm using my browns for some reason. So now I'm just going to go over with B52 on the top section of the eye. And of course inside the pupil. And you can't see much difference between the base color and the next color up. However, it's really important to have a gradual color change. So I'm just using my Zero again because lots of ink is coming out. And you can kind of see it streak if there's too much ink. So you just have to be careful with that. So I've just finished with, I would say both of them are my base colors. Now I'm going to move on to my next color, which is BG18. And that's, it's darker. It's not really showing up though, which is weird. Okay. Just have to do what I can with this. I think it's running out of ink, that's why it's not showing up as much. But it is making the top darker. I'm gonna now move on with my darkest color, B97, which is night blue. It's a nice color, I like it. Just coloring in the pupil and just around the eye. I also draw a ring right around the pupil, just it makes a really cool dramatic effect on it. I'm now going to kind of blend in everything with BG18. It's not really shading the way I wanted it to, so right now I'm going to be using some gray colors. I wouldn't suggest using grays if you want a bright eye, but since I'm doing a grayish blue color one, I'm going to be using my grays just to shade it in a bit better. And it just will help with the effect that I want. I'm just going over with Zero. And again, you can get all of my markers on my online store, shop.PaigeeDraw.com. Trying to look at this. I think I need a much darker color, so I'm going to use T7. Just a bit on the top. See, I use tons and tons of colors when I'm coloring my eyes, especially, you know, the bigger the eye is, the more color you're going to be using. If you're drawing a small eye, just like 2 or 3 colors is enough. So. I'm just trying to see what I'm doing here. Sorry if I'm getting in the way. So that's the kind of effect that I want for my eye. So next off, I'm going to start doing the shine. So I generally keep my shine always the same, so I put a little bit on one side, a tinier dot on the other side, and then a line just on the bottom. That kind of goes in with the whole thing. And now that I've finished coloring the eye, I'm just going to touch up the top part a bit with black. Just so it's darker, and since this eye is a darker grayish color, it's important to have the top part much darker, so you kind of have to go over. Again, either your fine liner or a black pen or a Copic. Okay, so I've just finished coloring this eye, and the next step would be is to color in the eyebrow with whatever hair color that you have used. So I'm going to start with the base color on this eye. So I'm going to start with V20. It's a very, very light purple. I find that purple eyes are really hard to color, but I'm going to do this. So I just got the base color down, and it's a really, really light color, so you might not be able to see it. I'm now going to use BV00 just to shade the top portion of the eye, and it's not too different than V20, but that is good. I kind of want a gradual change. So there's a lot of ink on the page, so I'm going to use some zero, just blend it in better. Now I'm going to go in with BV01, and all the markers you can get on my online store, shop.PaigeeDraw.com. I also sell kits with all the colors. Well, not all the colors, like a lot of the colors that I use. So this isn't much different than the other colors, but it's still different, and you'll see it later on. And I can use B15. And you don't have to use this many colors for an eye. I just, when I color eyes, especially since this one's bigger, I like using tons and tons of colors because I love shading. Like, you'll probably really only need maybe 2 or 3 markers for an eye, but I like doing tons. Now I'm gonna use V09. Hopefully that'll be the last color I use. So it's much different than the other colors that I put on. So I fill the pupil with that, a bit on the top, and then I just kind of continue the ring around the pupil. And by having like a much different darker color, the eye is going to stand out much more, and it's going to look more dramatic. I'm just going to blend it in a tiny bit though, just so it just flows in better. I'm gonna go over again with the V09. Now that I just finished coloring it, I'm going to use my white gel pen, the shine. And you can make the shine as big as you want or as little as you want. You don't even need it if you don't want to, but it's kind of something that you see in a lot of drawings, so it's fun. So I always do 2 circles and a line. I don't know why, but that's how I have always done my shine, at least for my recent style of eye. Now, in the last eye, I used a 100 black Copic to touch up the top portion of the eye, but I'm going to show you that you can also use just a normal pen, so I'm just using the same kind of pen as my white gel pen, but in black. And so if you don't want to get a black Copic, which I find I never really use, like I use it for eyes and whatnot, but I always shade with gray instead of black. So this is also going to be making it dark, but it's not going to be as black as the Copic, but it's going to work. It's going to serve its purpose pretty much. And I've just finished this purple eye. Thanks for watching my video tutorials. If you want to see more of my tutorials, please check out www.PaigeeDraw.com. I post all my videos there, any contest updates, everything there. And if you just want to see more of my videos, please subscribe.